Thank you. Okay. Next question, this is from Daniel Rosenthal. On what basis should we rely on Likud to defend the unity of Jerusalem? Who wants to go first on that?
Well, if you have somebody else that might form the government that you feel more comfortable with, vote for them. You know, we live in this world. And in this world, the only party that's going to form the next government is what we call a mifleget shilton, a government-forming party, is the Likud. And even if we've had some differences with policy of the Likud in the past, when Benjamin Netanyahu wakes up in the morning, he thinks about how he's going to protect and defend the territorial integrity of the State of Israel. He's going to hold on to as much as possible, and he's certainly not going to divide Jerusalem. When everybody else wakes up in the morning in the other parties, they think about how they can find the way of unleashing these unnecessary territories from the State of Israel. That's the difference. Now, there may be some differences that you may have with Benjamin Netanyahu, with me in the future. But you're not going to get a better government in Israel on the issue of our rights to the land of Israel. And I'm going to tell you something very briefly, share with you a very brief anecdote about Benjamin Netanyahu. In the finance ministry, where I was chief of staff, we received a visitor from the United States, a very important senator. I won't mention names. But it had nothing to do with economics, so it was a courtesy call. I was chief of staff and working together with the embassy. I put a half-hour meeting into the log. And how surprised I was when the senator came as the chairman of a very important committee, came walking in with about 15 assistants, all carrying notebooks as if this was a working meeting. And he sat down, and everybody's sitting around him, and Bibi started to talk about Iran and the Middle East. And he talked and talked and talked. And there was only 30 minutes allotted for this meeting. And the senator was sitting there like this, just glued to every word that the Minister of Finance was saying. And you know what he was talking about? He was talking about the coins discovered in the north and in Jerusalem. He was talking about Beit El and Shiloh that he had visited a few days before, and the center of which was the center of Jewish life in the capital of Israel when we entered the country. This is what he's talking to the senator about. And after 40 minutes, I run a tight ship. I run a very tight ship. And I saw we were going overboard, so I kicked him under the table. And he looked at me. And I looked down at my watch. He got the message. He looked down at his watch, and he stopped. And then the senator said to him, "Oh, Mr. Netanyahu, I realize we're going overboard, but this has been very, very interesting. Could you please continue?" He went on for another 20 minutes talking about the rights of the Jewish people to the land of Israel, and then he talked about Jerusalem. After an hour of a dissertation, which you just don't do in a meeting with a senator that's one of the leading senators in the United States, very, very powerful individual. After 60 minutes, the senator turned to him and said, "Okay, could I now hear about your economic policies?" I am telling you, you cannot find another diplomat in this country that can speak about anything for 60 minutes. So we're going to do the best we can to protect and defend. I have been working on the integrity of Jerusalem personally. Many of you may remember the big demonstration, January 8, 2001. We had anywhere from 250 to 400,000 people. Well, together with Natan Sharansky, yours truly organized that demonstration. And last year, we tried to get Shas out of the government. We first got Liebman out of the government by putting Jerusalem right there on the front page of every newspaper with the campaign in Jerusalem. When I was asked once again by Sharansky to come forward and leave my comfortable office in the JCPA and work on that, we're gonna keep Yerushalayim united. We're gonna stand up against this tsunami. We're going to do everything we can, but we need the people of Israel to be on board. And if we're going to have a people of Israel that goes 60% in favor of territorial compromise, we're going to have a big problem. So we've got to educate, and we've got to get out there and beat the pavement, and we've got to convince that there is another paradigm, not just a concession paradigm, not just a withdrawal paradigm. There are other paradigms, and this is the theme. We talk about a demographic problem, and that's the reason they want to create a Palestinian state. The Arabs of Judea and Samaria live on 12% of the land. You don't give up 100% of the land to solve a problem on 12% of the land.